If you're dating with a checklist mentality, you're already setting yourself up for divorce. Let me ask you something. If you are dating with a checklist mentality, what happens when your partner stops checking those boxes? What happens? Right now, when I watch Pop the Balloon with my wife and I watch these dating shows and I look at these Instagram reels, everyone's asking the same questions. What do you bring to the table? And people show up like it's a job interview. Like, you make 6 figures? Check. Independent? Check. You like to travel? Check. Own property? Check. But let me ask you this. What happens when life changes those boxes? What happens when they lose their job? What happens when stress causes weight gain? What happens when depression hits? I mean, do you feel scammed? Do you still feel committed? Because here's the real question. Did you marry the person or did you marry the resume/checklist? Let me see if I could challenge your thinking here. You see these hands? Do these hands say, hey, right hand, what do you bring to the table? Hey, wait a minute now. Left hand, what do you bring to the table? It sounds crazy when you think about it, right? But that's what I hear when I hear this checklist, what do you bring to the table mentality. Like, do your hands do the same thing? Do they compete with each other or do they complement each other? Here's another question for you. What if marriage works the same way? In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 31, it says, the two shall become one flesh. One flesh. Not a checklist. Not the two shall become compatible, but one body, one flesh. So let's think about this. When you become one body, should you be asking, what do you bring? Or should you be asking, how do we work together? That's food for thought, right? Let me show you what that looks like. A checklist thinking says, well, she doesn't make enough money. What does she bring? But the complement thinking thinks, does she bring vision, empathy, and wisdom I don't have? Because if she does, then we can multiply together. The checklist thinking says, he's too quiet. He's too boring. He doesn't go out enough. I need someone more adventurous, that travels more ambitious. But the complement thinking says, is he steady and discerning, where I'm bold and expressive? Do we balance each other? You see the difference between checklist thinking and complement thinking? See, checklist keeps the score. Complement thinking builds together. So I want you to ask yourself, when you date with a checklist, are you shopping or are you building? Because here's what I've learned. Checklist marriages fail when the lists change. Complement marriages grow when life gets hard. Because you're not two people trying to impress each other. You're two hands working as one. And this is not just romantic theory. This is biblical design. One flesh, two parts, perfectly matched in purpose. Now listen, before you get married, I want you to answer this. Are you marrying a checklist or are you marrying to complement? Because if you don't know the difference, you might be walking into the wrong marriage for what you think is the right reasons. I see it all the time. And that's exactly why we created the character method. It's the world's most comprehensive premarital Christian workshop. And it teaches you how to communicate, connect, and build as one flesh, having these hard conversations before hard times, before you say I do. Not feelings, not compatibility quizzes, character, communication, covenant. If you're engaged or dating seriously, have you prepared for the marriage or have you just prepared for the wedding? Love is a feeling. Marriage is a skill. And if you don't learn the skill, the feelings won't save you or your marriage. Link in the bio or in the first comment. God bless.